It began, as many things do in my life, with a YouTube comment. I just downloaded Dragon's Dogma Online, which was only released in Japan a few years ago and got shut down 4 years after launch. The private server even has an English patch. It's pretty awesome. Now, as soon as I read that, I knew that my plans for the summer, were to play Final Fantasy 11 and 14, were going to be put on hold because I was one of those people who was really hyped the moment they announced Dragon's Dogma Online way back around like 2014. It released in 2015, but I think information kind of leaked out there early, and I was really hyped about it. And like many things that release in Japan, we never got it here in the West. I just made a video about that, by the way, that not a lot of people have watched. So I'm going to recommend it to you guys. Check it out. It mentions Dragon Quest X and Monster Hunter Frontier, and of course Dragon's Dogma Online. It really stinks when that happens. I remember Phantasy Star Online 2 doing that, and then eventually it came out, and unfortunately my interest in it it dropped off because it took so long to get out here, and I had moved on to other things. But nevertheless, this game did shut down, and I'm playing through it now, and I am completely addicted to it. I was a big fan of Dragon's Dogma, the original game, way back on Xbox 360. It did have its issues, but Dark Arisen, when that came out, was like a DLC pack. It really fixed a lot of the problems that many of us had with the game, and I'm hoping that's going to happen with Dragon's Dogma 2, because a lot of people weren't happy with that game either, and they're getting their version of Dark Arisen soon. So I'm probably going to be checking that out now. I don't know if my system's really up to it, though. I hear it's kind of hard to run, much like Monster Hunter Wild is pretty difficult to run. Either way, this game is incredible, and it feels like the perfect version of Dragon's Dogma, the original Dark Arisen version. It's like somebody took that and they made it into an MMO, and they kind of mixed it with there's a little bit of Diablo going on here with the fact that you can go into dungeons, and the world just kind of has that Diablo-esque feel to it, where you can go down into cellars and all this different stuff. That it just feels like it's laid out in a similar way. And sometimes when I go into these dungeons, I'll look around and I get that old-fashioned Skyrim vibe. I don't know if I'm the only one who gets those feelings, but it's kind of like taking a mixture of different things and bringing them together into this perfect game that I'm really surprised got shut down. And I'm equally surprised never made it here to the West, because I do think it would have done very well. Dragon's Dogma took time to pick up steam here in the United States, but it did in the West in general with Dark Arisen. And in the fact that they brought out the sequel, but they never brought out the MMO, is a little strange to me, especially considering we've always been pretty receptive of games that have a lobby-based system. If you take a look at Phantasy Star Online, for example, you take a look at Guild Wars 1, these are games that have traditionally done very well over here. So it's not like we were allergic to that system and we didn't just need an always online massive world like World of Warcraft or something. So I don't know what their reasons were for not bringing it here, but it seems like a real shame, because there's a lot of systems in this game that I really love. The leveling up feels nice. All the different vocations, first of all, I'm not going to go through and name them all, but I'll put them up on the screen. I've only been messing with the fighter. I plan on branching off into the warrior later, and then the high scepter, which I hear is absolutely insane. A lot of people compare it to Monster Hunter Frontier with what was it, the magnet sphere or something like that. But it seems like it's an incredibly overpowered vocation, and I am looking forward to messing with it. Now, I should mention there are two different servers for Dragon's Dogma Online. You've got the original DDON, I think that one came out first, Dragon's Dogma Online, and then you've got Rising. I've played on both of the servers. I played on DDON for about 3 days or so. I got to about level 24, 26 or something like that. And then I said, I want to check out this Rising server, which is really convenient because the launcher is connected to both games. So all you have to do is just change the address and you can bounce between both games, and you can save the addresses. So you just toggle a switch and you're bouncing between playing the different servers. I did notice that Rising, they want to level you faster. They give you a ring that helps you level quicker. But what I really wanted to play on Rising for, what really had me gravitate toward it more than anything, is the fact that they have stuff in their shop that they don't have in DDON. So you have to basically craft everything in DDON. And you know, that's not really a big deal, right? But when you consider you're going to have two pawns that you're also going to have to be outfitting, then it starts to become a real pain in the ass. You have to track down all this stuff to craft. And it's fine if you want to do that. And I might go back and mess with it because I do appreciate that more old school grindy approach. There's definitely more of a sense of accomplishment if you're crafting all of your gear from scratch. But the Rising server, I like the fact that it goes up to about level 70, 75, where you can just buy stuff and outfit your characters that way. After that, you're going to start to want to get into crafting. So they don't completely eschew crafting. It's not like thrown out the window. It's just saved into the later game. So you will still be getting into it. And I like the pace of that a little bit more as somebody who wants to really get into the meat of the game so I can bring a review to you guys, or at least a first impressions video telling you what I think about it. It appealed to me more to go through that server. So I've basically already caught up within about a day or so. It is much faster to go through everything. Now, you have to keep in mind I've run the quests before, so they were quicker to get through. I'm still going through, I believe, is a bit of a tutorial. I haven't even really gotten out of that at the time of this commentary, but I'm laying it down now because it's going to get ridiculously hot here. In a few days, and I'm not going to want to have to turn off the air conditioning for commentary. But yeah, the graphics I think hold up pretty well. I like the foliage and everything. Obviously, you can tell this is a game from 2015. I put on a reshade, which is really easy to install if you don't know about reshade. Very simple. You can look up a guide for it and just get it configured to how you want it to look. And it bumps it up a little bit, especially in the lighting department. But this is Dragon's Dogma, man. And I mean, most of us are here because we like to climb on top of monsters and stab them. That's the big appeal to me. Was I was always a Monster Hunter fan, a huge Monster Hunter fan from the jump with the original game, and it took a while to catch on here in the West, but I always loved it. Even when we had those awkward controls where you had to attack using the analog sticks, I actually kind of miss those days where people would yell at you and scream ups because you were pressing up on your stick and sending them, or actually you press down, I believe, and it would send them flying up into the air and they'd get pissed. But anyway, this game, I've been having so much fun with it. All these different monsters, just, like I said, climbing on them, stabbing them, kicking the crap out of them. And it feels really nice as you gear up and go through the world. There's a lot of crafting to do, and it's kind of weird that the game didn't automatically include this, but I grabbed a mod that shows me where all the crafting resources are, all the stuff, all the nodes for crafting on the map, because otherwise you'd just be wandering around aimlessly looking for them. So I mean, some people might like that because then you're just kind of running around and exploring and whatnot. And the world is pretty interesting. I wouldn't say it's super packed with high density and a ton of stuff to do, but it's not boring. It is fun to explore. And just like Dragon's Dogma from back in the day, when you run up on a huge monster, immediately you're thinking, oh man, I don't know if I can take this guy. I got to get a little bit closer to see its level. And yeah, sometimes you get into hot water where you get your ass whooped and you realize, man, I need to come back here later. And that's one of the most addictive aspects of this game for me, is that it plays off of that very well. That's what really pulls me into RPGs, and especially MMORPGs in general, is I don't want to go over there right now. I'm going to get my ass kicked. But if I gear up, if I get better gear and I level up, I level up my skills, eventually I can go over there and I can kick that thing's ass and I can take its loot. And that's just the carrot on the stick that keeps this game going all the way through so far. And I don't imagine myself getting bored with it anytime soon, because there's still a ton of content for me to see. Like I said, I'm pretty early on in it, but it's a blast. I feel confident enough to make a video to tell everybody right now, you need to check this out. It's completely free. You just download it. The launcher is really easy. It's not like you have to set up some sort of emulator or anything like that, like with EverQuest Online Adventures and some other games. Very simple installation. You just grab the launcher, you make sure you're connected to the right ports, you sign up, and you're off running. And I believe there's 3 servers. I'm not aware of what the other one is called. I've just been playing, like I said, on DDON and Rising, but it's been an absolute blast. So this game also has a housing system, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Monster Hunter World, the way that they did housing. You can't really customize it in the way that you would expect with something like maybe Final Fantasy 14. Like, you can't really move a lot of things around, but you can change the wallpaper, you can change out the different lighting. There's a ton of options here, and there's a lot of it that you're going to want to craft. And I love that. If you don't like to craft, you might not enjoy this aspect, but a lot of the housing items, a lot of the stuff is seasonal and whatnot. You'll get the recipes for it, or you'll get the materials that you need for it. Rather, the recipes are already unlocked. Once you gather the materials you need, you can just craft everything you want for the room. Plus, there's achievements. I believe the game explained it. It was kind of weird the way that it read, but it says that as you gain achievements, there's things that you can also put in your room. So it's not just a matter of crafting them. So if you like housing, this actually has pretty decent housing. I wasn't expecting it. You know, it says it's a room, but it's a pretty large room. You get a balcony. I've been working on the garden. I haven't really gone out there yet. I don't know if it unlocks when I finish this quest. I got to get some pine. I'm still running around the forest looking for pine so I can unlock this. But there's a ton of different things to do in this. And you're going to be leveling your skills. Not only that, there's like this dragon tree. I can't remember exactly what it's called, where you move up this tree and you give these orbs to this dragon, and it unlocks more like passive statistics and whatnot for you. It even opens up things like bag slots. It'll give you different currency and whatnot as you go along. Same thing with your pawns. You're going to be taking them through the same system. And then they have a special skills for your pawn, which I didn't understand at first, and I kind of ignored it. Go into your room if you start playing this periodically, because an NPC is going to show up. And if he shows up and he's got a quest, and it's green, but it's like crossed out, dismiss your party and take that quest, because he's going to send you into a rift where you can get skills that are going to make a pretty big difference for your pawn, like being able to get you up if you get knocked out periodically, things like that. So there's a lot of really deep systems here. There's actually these job points that you get that are, I wouldn't say job points, but they're like these quests that you have to do that I don't really fully understand just yet, but you have to talk to a job master, and once you do that, it just kind of levels your skills. I'm not really fully understanding how it works, but it kind of functions like quests, where I'll go out and I'll have to kill a monster, and then it's like, oh, you did this job thing, go report to this person. And I think it strengthens your skills. But the point being is it's a really deep system that it just keeps you wanting to level and go through everything. The gameplay loop feels very rewarding. So you'll go out, you'll gain a level or two doing all this different stuff, and then you'll come back and you'll want to dump all your stuff into your chest. You're going to want to go through and make sure that you're keeping everybody equipped with the best gear and upgraded, because if you don't do that, your gear is really important in this game. You're going to get stomped. You're also going to want to make sure that if you're hiring pawns from the Rift, because you can hire other players' pawns as well as your own, that you're keeping them leveled up, because they won't level with you. You'll have to rehire them, and you'll be periodically going back into town basically and just upping your game substantially. Each time you return to town, it feels really rewarding, because you're constantly increasing your skills and moving up a ladder. So yeah, there's just a ton of stuff to do here. There's the priority quest, there's this bunch of different side quests, and then you have the main story quest. But yeah, basically what it comes down to is just whipping the shit out of things with style. And it feels really nice having the ability to just bring pawns for most things. And then if you want to get into a little bit more hardcore stuff where you're going to be fighting harder monsters, then you have the option to group with other players. And there's enough of a community here. I wouldn't say it's huge, but you should be able to find people to do content that comes later. I imagine you'd probably struggle if you want to just group up with people right away. Unless you bring a friend with you, I think that the best way to go through this game probably would be cooperatively with another friend. You know, I'm talking about progression, and it occurred to me, I didn't even mention the area master yet. Every zone in the game basically has an area master that you're going to want to talk to. And you don't just want to talk to them once, you're going to want to go down to area information. This is one of the mistakes I made. I didn't do that, and when you don't do that, you don't unlock the faction for that area. Basically, it functions like faction, but you rank up with them as you go through and do different quests in the area. Even if you kill monsters, like large monsters, you'll run up to them and it'll give you a quest immediately. As soon as you spot them and start fighting them, you'll unlock this faction-based system where everything that you do in the zone helps to contribute to your faction in that area. So you're going to want to unlock that right away, because there's places you're not going to be able to go. You'll be in the middle of a dungeon at like level 20, and you'll walk up to a locked door that says it's level 56 beyond that point, and you need to talk to the area master before you can open it. So not only are you going to want to level up, but you're going to want to get your faction up so that you can actually unlock the door, and when you do go through the door, you can survive what's on the other side. And I remember thinking when I first saw that, why would they have a door that high level in this low level dungeon? And then it occurred to me, oh yeah, they want you to come back, duh. So it helps just keep older areas fresh, if you know what I mean. It's a really nice system, and I think this game was really well designed. I'm struggling to find out just why it didn't really pick up steam. From what I heard, they had trouble monetizing it. It wasn't easy to monetize. People didn't want to pay like a sub fee for it because it kind of feels like a hybrid game, kind of like, Monster Hunter or Phantasy Star Online or Guild Wars 1 even, where a lot of the stuff you can do solo. So it has that appeal of being able to do things on your own while also being connected to other players in the hubs. And I really like that. I know some people don't like that, but I'm one of those people. I'm one of those weirdos who likes to play MMORPGs, and I don't necessarily like to group up with people all the time, but I do like knowing that they're around and I can see them, and they help make the world feel more alive. There's a bazaar where you can go, and it's basically an auction hall. You can buy stuff and sell stuff. So it's got that hybrid feeling to it that I really do enjoy, and I've enjoyed it all the way going back to Phantasy Star Online. I should also mention, as your area rank goes up, there's going to be different bosses that appear in the world. So when you're starting out, the world's going to feel very different than when you reach the end of that journey, quote unquote. Because once you get up to like level 80 or 90 and you've done a bunch of these different quests and you've leveled up the area ranks and everything, all of a sudden there's going to be bosses all around that weren't there before. Like the bridge that you've crossed a million times, now there's going to be a troll that shows up over there. And it's usually worth your time to take them down, even if it's not really part of a quest, because they drop a ton of money. And they drop crafting resources and whatnot, stuff that you can use for quests. And yeah, it's pretty much always worth your time to go through and fight all this stuff. I've come across treants. I've come across... my favorite so far was like this undead cyclops or whatever. It was an ogre. I can't remember what it was. I got a little bit of video of it. And its head came off really quickly. And as you fight it, it just degrades and starts to fall apart more and more. And it dropped a ton of money. It dropped like 20,000 gold. So that was pretty cool. Mobs do change. Sometimes they'll be undead. Other times they'll just be goblins there. I thought it was dependent upon the day and night cycle, but it seems like it doesn't really matter that much, at least on the Rising server. I noticed on the DDON server that enemies didn't really change. If they did, I just didn't really notice it. But I do plan on sticking with Rising for a while, because like I said, it's just a little bit more friendly for me. I'm going to be able to see more things in a shorter amount of time, so it's just more convenient for somebody who might have either less time or they're trying to produce content like I am for you guys now. But yeah, that's about it for this video. I highly recommend you check this out. And a lot of people, unfortunately, never heard of it. And it's a real shame that they didn't bring it here to the West. I'm kind of hoping that they'll do a Dragon's Dogma Online Part 2, but I don't know if they would do that, since this one didn't do it terribly well. But it would be nice to see them do something like it. I don't know if Dragon's Dogma 2 has an online function or not. I'm going to have to look into that more. But at this point, I want to kick it over to you guys. What do you think about this down in the comments section? Let me know. I enjoy reading each and every one of your comments. Do you plan on playing the game? Have you played it already? What are your thoughts on it? Smash that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell. And I'm just going to put up one video right here that everybody missed. So I would ask you guys to go watch that. It's going to help with the algorithm tremendously. I worked my butt off on this one, and I think you guys will enjoy it. Thanks for watching. God bless, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.
Nostalgia. It's delicate, but potent.